What's up YouTube, welcome back to another video, and this is my version of the top 5 2020 sneaker releases. And I'll just break down, how each 5 in order, explain why they're in that order, and just my explanation overall. Now this top 5 of this year is going to be a bit different from the other YouTube videos you've seen. I'm not the type of person to put a sneaker on my top 5 if I've never encountered it, if that makes any sense. I've never had it in hand, never experienced it, never seen it. So yeah, basically this is my top 5 of sneakers I've purchased or had in hand or was able to see it, in hand and experience all the hype behind it. And if it's just hype, then most likely than not, it won't be in my top 5. So don't be surprised if you don't see any hyped up shoe. Now first up on my list are the 2020 Union Jordan 4, the Guava Ice colorway, the one I posted several months ago, made a video on it, unboxing for review on it, and it's number 1 for me just because of the importance of it. I know there's so much hype behind the Union collabs, but for me this colorway seemed odd at first. So initially I was aiming to get the black pair, but fortunately I was able to get the Guava Ice pair, so that made it even more sentimental, if that makes sense, because I wasn't aiming to get this sneaker, but now the hype behind it and the resale value, for me it's number 1. I know the shoe wouldn't be everyone's number 1 sneaker of the year, but like I said, this shoe right here with all the hype around it, I am using the old footage, as you can see, because I did sell them. I did make some profit off it. I know they were going for much more initially, declined a little bit, so that's where I decided to let them go, get my profit while I can. But like I said, when it comes to regard the best shoe of the year, to me it is Jordan 4, classic silhouette, and this colorway was odd at first, but with all that hype, people just disregarded how bad the color blocking and the color scheme is. So yes, I understand this isn't color blocking not the best sneaker of the year, but just seeing how people initially reacted to the leaked photos, including myself, and then everyone flipping on that opinion and saying, oh, it's a great sneaker because of the sneaker hype and the resale value behind it. For me, it's number 1 in that regard. At number 2, I have the Jordan 1, the Mocha colorway. For me, this is number 2 just because, of course, Jordan 1, classic silhouette, classic model. But with this colorway, the Mocha colorway, so much hype behind it, so many comparisons with the Travis Scott 1s, and in my opinion, I personally don't have a pair. I was able to borrow a pair just for the footage, but in my opinion, I believe it stood up to the hype. I initially thought, just another Jordan 1, it'd probably be a GR, but since people started comparing it to the Travis Scott, it took on this hype, and it still has this hype. Resales almost at or more than 400, so that to me took me by shock. And of course, the materials on the shoe wasn't too bad. I wouldn't say it was the best of the year. However, I would say it was pretty decent, especially for a GR anticipated sneaker. I don't think anybody was expecting all the hype to generate behind this sneaker like it did. But for that reason, I'll have to put it at number 2 on my top 5 sneakers of 2020. And just comment down below throughout the video if you disagree or agree with my list. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this is depending on the sneakers I personally had or was able to have in hand to see what's the hype about, just to see how they are in hand. And for me, these top 5 stood out of this year. I know there are many more sneakers that came out with much more hype, but like I said, either I couldn't acquire them, I was unable to get any footage of them, so these top 5 right here made it to my list. Now third on the list is the most anticipated sneaker in my mind of the year, the Yeezy 350 V2, the bread colorway. They restocked this year. I know it's not the initial release, but they did restock this year. It's another release date this year, and for me, this was probably the most anticipated sneaker personally for me. Like I said, I've been waiting for this sneaker for a couple years now. I think they initially came out in 2016, so it's been 4 years now, and I was finally able to get a pair. Now for me, you can say this was like a grail. I was looking forward when I saw the restock, and I initially thought it was gonna be impossible to get, because with the bots, especially with the pandemic going on, this is a bot heavy season. So I thought another L, but then once I saw Adidas was doing multiple raffles, many sneaker stores were doing other raffles, pickup reservations and all that, I knew I had a chance. And when I actually hit on the Adidas app, it was a big surprise for me, and I'm fortunate enough to get a pair. And when it comes to the looks and aesthetics of the sneaker, classic 350 V2, colorway, silhouette, but the all black with the hints of red on the heel tab. You got the wording in red, classic for me. These are one of the earlier Yeezy 350 V2s that I was interested in, but like I said, impossible to cop at that time, and fortunate to get a pair this time around. So yeah, that's pretty much why I made number 3 on the list. I know this has to be on people's top 5. I wouldn't see another reason why I wouldn't. But like I said, personally for me, one of the early grails in my sneaker collection days. So glad to have a pair. And now number 4 on my list is the Fire Red 4s. They recently came out and they automatically made my top 5. I was leaning more towards top 10, but I just had to put it on my top 5. This is Jordan 4, like I said earlier in the video, classic silhouette, classic model, and it's just an OG colorway. And Jordan gave us the Nike Air on the back. It's been so long since we got Nike Air on the back on the Fire Red 4, so it had to make my top 5 list. And yeah, I know most people might consider these as super GRs. Like, what's the point of even having them, and especially having them on my top 5 list? But like I said earlier, for me, this sneaker is, if you put all the break talk away, the non-hype talk away, for me this is just a classic sneaker. If you're building your collection, from now on, this would be a sneaker, one of the first sneakers you could pick up, and just start your collection. Not a bad sneaker to start with. And for that reason, it made my top 5 list. I know I have it at number 4, maybe too high for some people, but like I keep saying, my top 5 list, so that sneaker will make it most times. 5th on my list, last but not least, is the recently released Jordan 11 Jubilee. I know these are considered another brick, but you cannot leave the Jordan 11 off top 5 best sneakers of the year list, just because this is just a staple time for Jordan 11, and it's a no-brainer for me. Like I said in my Jordan 11 Jubilee review video, the Jordan 11 is a classic silhouette, of course, and this all black upper, creamy bottom. We have this silver Jumpman, silver 2-3 on the heel. You can't get any better than them. And I know they're calling these breaks just because of the time we're at. Was the pandemic, and with sneakers literally coming out every week now. I don't know how Jordan expects the consumers to keep up financially, but if you were able to get a pair, that's a good pair to pick up. And if you were trying to resell, give it some time, it will go up in value. Now I know the number 5, the Jordan 11 that I just said, is going to be talked about just because people are considering this to be the breaks of the year. But like I said, you can't really call it a break just because of the times we're going through. And I know most people won't have this sneaker on their list, but that doesn't mean it's a bad sneaker. It doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be on the list. I believe it's a top 5 sneaker that came out this year. If you have another opinion, comment down below. I'd like to know, just see what other sneaker you would rather have on this list. Now that's my top 5 sneakers of 2020. Like I said throughout the video, if you have any disagreements or agreements, comment down below. I'd like to know. But overall, I think this list is pretty solid. I know most people want to see those hyped up sneakers, many Off-Whites that came out this year, but if you really take away the hype of those sneakers, those are just, decent sneakers on classic silhouettes that, these companies just put on so they can relive, revamp the sneaker that people forgot for years now, like the SB, but I'm not trying to bash them for that. Like I said, this list is pretty solid in my opinion. Classic silhouettes, classic colorways, and we have the Guava at number 1, which is something unique, and I saw people saying they're trash and now they're grails for some people. So like I said, if you disagree or agree, comment down below. I'd like to know. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.